Since Manchester City were last in action, welcome to Matchday Live. The players are ready, already at Molineux. The gaffer, Pep, is ready. Rico Lewis has his Matchday outfit on, and so too, the good news is, does Nathan Ake. 7 games he's missed, but there's a big clue. The fact he's got his tracksuit on, Nathan makes the Matchday squad. Mateo Kovacic, what a brilliant goal-scoring start to the season he's had. He got those 2 fine goals against Fulham last time out. And Jeremy Doku got the all-important third in a 3-2 win. Ilkay Gundogan, found out this week, goes to the same barber as me. Is that a bad reflection on Ilkay or a good one on me? I'm not sure. Jack Grealish has had enough of the barber chat. Hood up. Less said about Erling's, the better. The main man, 10 goals in the Premier League already this season. Akanji with his hood up. And there is Savinho. It's time to bring you today's team. Of course, it's Edison. The number 31 is our number 1 today. Rico continues in defence. John Stones, recently captaining his country. And Ruben Dias alongside him. With Josko Gvardiol playing on the left. That means Nathan Ake is on the bench but in the squad. Mateo Kovacic, can he score again? 3 already this season. He's in midfield with Ilkay Gundogan. Bernardo Silva will assist the attack. Savinho's in there too. Telling me to shush there. Jeremy Doku will play off the left, and guess who will go up top? 10 goals already this season. Erling Haaland will lead the line. Hello, welcome back to Matchday Live. We've missed you. It's been 15 days since we were last live. I'm Chris Latchem, and I'm joined by some leadership royalty in the studio. A couple of former Manchester City captains, Keith Curle and Mick McCarthy, both have a little bit of history with both teams here. How are you feeling, guys?
Yeah,
good, thank you,
good.
yeah. Oh.
Great to have you with us. I have to say, I think you've done well to get the nod back, because the last time you were both on what was a sofa last time, we've changed the seats, was this result a year ago, and it didn't go particularly well for City.
I maybe shouldn't have told you that, should I?
Yeah.
Don't bring that one up.
We've had a word with the production team.
Discussion, yeah.
These two are bad. Don't bring them back. Don't bring them back.
They've brought us back to repair the damage of last time.
Yeah, well, exactly. A second chance for you both. So welcome. 2 teams with very contrasting fortunes at the start of this season. Keith, you've got one team in City that can go top today, and Wolves that are yet to win in 7.
Yeah, and I think that's it's a worry for Gary. He's got a team at the minute that's got ability, got talent, but they're not getting results, and that's so. He'd be learning about himself. He's still a young manager, and he'd just be looking for that one result that can change your season. Because at the minute, when you're looking at the results, the way they're conceding goals, you're thinking it's going to be a long season for him.
Could get worse before it gets better against Manchester City. Probably the last team that you would want to play when you're in a dire run of form. Mick, let's have a quick reflection on the team that we've just run through. Great to see Nathan Ake, who's missed such a long time. He was injured on the last international window, playing for Netherlands against Germany. He's missed 7 games, but he's back in the matchday squad on the bench today.
It's always great to get your players back. No matter, if they're first-team players and you're missing them. And, of course, there's a lot of talk about Gvardiol having to play all the games. And Ake, he's fabulous. I mean, he can do the left-back, he can do the left centre-back. And as a manager, you're getting players, you want them back fully fit. But going back to that, Wolves, you're looking for a game to start your season off after 7, 1 point out of the first start of the season. It's not Manchester City you want, that's for sure. It just isn't. And the Premier League's like that, because you start looking through your fixtures and you go, well, there's not any of them that you fancy. But Manchester City are the worst, of course.
Yeah, they certainly are. They can go top today. Erling Haaland started the season, Keith, like a train. 10 goals in his first 5 games. He's got a couple without scoring, but he does have a tremendous record against Wolves in the league. He'll be fancying it today.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, personally, I can't understand why there's some critics within the game still criticise him because he doesn't link play enough, he's not involved enough, he doesn't have enough touches of the ball during the 90-95 minutes. He's a goal scorer. The lad will score goals. He's a goal threat. Unfair criticism, or is it jealousy that he's not playing for them?
I I think it's completely unfair criticism. I think it's probably quite a high level of jealousy, wouldn't you say, Mick?
I would say so.
Everyone would love an Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I love the fact that he can actually play. Most people want to be involved, don't they? You know, like midfield players, they want the ball. Come on, give me the ball. Wingers want the ball. He's not really that bothered. He gets his fewest touches, I think. In loads of games you watch him, he hardly has a touch in the first half. And then all of a sudden the ball comes to him and he gets it. And so he's keeping centre-halves on their mettle, on the watch all the time, trying to get up the side of them, coming in, running beyond them. He must be a nightmare because he's such a big, powerful guy and all. I love it that he is acceptance of how he does it. The manager has him, he plays in that position and he knows he's going to get chances, he's going to score goals. But he's not involved in all the build-up play and all the football.
Yeah, it must be so hard to defend against, Keith. I know obviously both of you have got your defensive understanding, played there, managed defenders in your careers as well. But in the last 2 games, Erling Haaland hasn't scored and the goals have come from midfield. Kovacic got 2 against Fulham. Doku scored a fabulous goal from the left wing. So how do you manage when there's threats coming from everywhere on the field?
I was thinking that today about when with Wolves, and they're thinking, like, go on, if you're playing against Man City and you have a look at the team sheet there and you're thinking, right, go on, and Gary O'Neill predominantly has been playing 4-4-2, started games very well, combative first 45 minutes, go off in the second half, and you're thinking, are you going to be brave enough to go and play 4-4-2 against a Man City team that will pull you apart? That they will dismantle a 4-4-2. And then you're thinking, like, well, the only way you can do it is you've got to have 10 behind the ball. Out of possession, you've got to get everybody back behind the ball and you've got to try and fill holes. And then you think, like, well, Pep's looked at that and you think, well, I'm going to open the pitch up. I'm going to go and play with 2 wingers that can go past you inside and outside. And if you get behind a team, as one of those, as a defender, as a defensive coach, you're thinking, like, you're struggling.
Yeah, and not just that. If we see Mateo Kovacic's goals from the last time out against Fulham, the first goal comes from a position where Fulham might think they're in a defensive strength. They've got numbers behind the ball, and Kovacic pounces on the first loose ball. Bit of a ricochet, but it ends up where Manchester City want it, back of the net. And it shows with his 3 goals so far this season, he'd only scored 3 in his previous 78. And this next goal shows a real eye for a predator. Watch where he picks it up and how he puts this in the back of the net. That's a real skill set that he's added to his game, Mick.
You can't coach that into people, I'm afraid. He's just a terrific footballer. That's to take his touch and then you think he's going to go the other side of the goalkeeper and he bends it to the guy's right. But in the first goal, I wonder about corner kicks because he's at the edge of the box and everybody's bumping people now in the box and there's nobody at the edge. You know, there was always 1 or 2 at the edge of the box ready for that. But they're fabulous goals. His second goal, his touch is sublime.
Yeah. First touch out of his feet, left foot, then the strike with the right foot.
Wonderful player. Technique is brilliant.
Yeah, we don't have the pictures of it, but he scored that brilliant goal against Chelsea early in the season as well. He's got a real eye for goal and he's playing in a team that just love to score goals. And we mentioned Jeremy Doku. You were talking about the fact that City now have wingers on both sides that can cut inside and shoot, as Jeremy Doku showed last week. Yeah. But the defender doesn't know where to go because he knows that he can strip him on the outside as well.
I think the defender there was crying out for help and he needed help quickly to come and double. You get the ball
wide. There, done that, Keith, my friend.
Yeah, it's one of those, you've got to double up against him in wide areas. But again, that then creates a gap somewhere else, normally the other side of the pitch. And again, that's why you can wear a team down if you keep moving the ball side to side, identifying the threat, and then go the other side. A team eventually they won't double up, and then that can be the end result.
And one other thought about the job that Gary O'Neill is facing and any other manager facing Manchester City this season is the strength in depth in every single position that City have. In that you go into a game week going, could be Grealish, could be Doku, not quite sure. How do you plan for that in midweek in a game week?
Well, we were talking just before that and said about players missing, but whoever comes in, they're not a mug. They're another player that can light up the Premier League and just fit into the Manchester City setup. How do you plan for it? You've got to get your players, and Keith was talking about there, going 4-4-2. If you go 4-4-2 and sit back, you'll never get out of your half. You'll be penned in. You've got to try and get the confidence in the players that you can either go and press them and get at them and see if you can. And I think Wolves have started games well. Yeah. As you were saying, at 4-4-2, but eventually they get pinned back. And if Manchester City pin you back, they'll find a hole, they'll find a gap, they'll find somewhere to score against you. I'd be worried to death if I was a Wolves coach manager that I've been there. I'd be worried to death with this lot coming.
Yeah, and Wolves have conceded the most goals in the Premier League this season. So we shall see today.
3 a game. 3 a game.
3 a game. They're averaging 21 in 7, which is not ideal. Now, in the international break, 2 of City's players became captains of their country for the first time. John Stones for England, Erling Haaland for Norway. Now, you know a lot about captaincy. What was your book called again?
It wasn't my title, but it was Captain Fantastic.
Fantastic.
It was somebody else who gave me the title, and well, it's very nice of them, but it's kind of embarrasses me a bit. That.
Big smile on your face. Biggest honour that can be bestowed upon someone to be called Captain Fantastic for the title of your book? No, to captain your country.
No, not being called. I mean, that's just the title of the book. It was being the captain.
Yeah.
And coming down the steps in Italy, in Rome, against Italy in a quarter final. You know, that's pretty good. You never think you're going to. Well, you hope you're going to do something like that, and when it happens, and captaining the team was amazing. Yeah. So, but you know, why do you get picked the captain? There's loads of reasons.
Loads of reasons. As manager, when you were picking your captain, were you thinking more for on-field performance leadership? How much does off-field factor into it?
There is a bit of both. There are sometimes the best player gets it at clubs. He's the best player, give it to him, everybody respects him.
David Beckham, England, would have been exactly that.
I understand that. But then, generally, you're looking at your players, the ones who leads the players in training. He's there on time all the time, he's out. He might be a 7 out of 10 every week, that guy, because you know you can rely on him. Every week you're going to play him. You're never going to be dropping him because you want him in the team. And other players respect him both on the pitch and off the pitch, and you can communicate through him as well to the rest of the players, and that's been my reason for giving the captaincy to players.
I think mine was usually reliable, consistent, dependable, both as a footballer but also within somebody's personality as well. Vitally important. You can't have a hothead who's going to go off at the drop of a hat. If somebody's got that level of consistency about their personality is important. And again, there's loads of different ways that players now do captain, and sometimes it's by example.
They must never have figured that one in, the hothead going off. Because I did a couple of times.
I was thinking across the city, Bruno Fernandes captains Manchester United a bit, and he doesn't always end the game on the field, does he? When you were made captain of your country, Mick, did you find that your game elevated as a result of that additional responsibility? No,
I was at a good age. It was for the, I'm 29, 30 almost. It wasn't going to affect me a great deal. I found when I was made captain earlier on in my career at a club.
Was that here?
No, it wasn't here. I'd gone beyond that. Before that I was at Barnsley. And all of a sudden I started thinking I had to be dictating things and doing things, and actually it affected my game. When it was made here, it didn't. I'd played 300 league games at that stage. And you get the captaincy given to you because of what you've done up until that point. You don't have to change when you get the captaincy. All of a sudden I'm the captain, I have to do all this other stuff. You don't. You gain it because the manager relies on you, you're dependable, you're always going to be, you're going to be there for the team and there for the manager. And you've been doing that over a number of games already.
Strange enough, the first time I got given the captain's armband when I was at Wimbledon, I didn't want it.
Really?
Bobby Gould just signed me.
Are you in a position where you can go, no, gaffer?
Well, he just signed me, and then the year before Wimbledon just won the FA Cup. A few of the stars had gone, like Andy Thorne, Dave Besant, they left, and he had other players like Fashanu, Wise, Sanchez, Cork. They all wanted it, but Bobby didn't want to give it to one of those. So then they just signed me. So signed the deal, and he goes, well, by the way, you're going to be the team captain. I went, Bob, I don't want it. It was my first step from. I'd gone from the Championship up into the Premier League. I go, well, I need to concentrate on my first year playing Premier League football, League One football. And he goes, no, it's going to make you or break you, especially at this football club.
Well, similar to me, Iki, because Billy McNeil made me the captain. He took it off Paul Power and gave it to me. And we went up to Scotland to a pre-season, and we had a friendly, and I had one. We got beat, but I had a bad game. And after the game, he ripping into all of us, but he ripped into me. And you, as captain, and captain. I said, if that's what's going to happen every time, like I'm captain, you can stick it. So, anyway, so he gave it back to Paul Power, and then he came and asked me again, well, what do you think? And then Paul had gone home and told him he was getting the captaincy back. So I said, just leave it. And then when it happened, I got the captaincy later on when Paul left. But yeah, you know, as the captain, I wasn't going to be expected every time to be carrying the weight of everybody else. So
strange enough, when I went to Wolves, so then I was captain at Wimbledon, captain at Man City. Then I went to Wolves and Steve Ball, who's like the club icon, the legend. I went there, but then Mark McGee, who was the manager at the time, he goes, I'm going to take the captaincy off a Bully and give it to you. And you think, like, that's going to straight away, that's going to cause a rift.
Hiya, Bully.
Yeah, no, but strange enough, I got on great with Bully, and I had a conversation with him. I goes, look, the manager said he's going to make me captain, take off it because he wants you to concentrate purely on scoring goals.
Trying to free him up.
Yeah, I did it as a club, and I made a mistake doing it. I took it off somebody, gave it to somebody else, and it doesn't sit well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So.
There we go. Right, in the studio here, we've got two rough, tough lads from their day. Definitely Mick, anyway, grizzled. I mean, Keith, you still look 30. You look fresh as a daisy. Maybe not so rough tough. Sorry, Mick. But we had someone rough tough in the studio this week as well. We had the WWE champion Cody Rhodes right here with his shiny bell, and we asked him to rank which City player he'd like to fight the least.
Cody, which Manchester City player would you least like to take on in a WWE fight?
I'd say Erling Haaland here, as you can see. Kind of looks like the type of guy who would beat you up outside your bus, which I have a bad habit of. That's been going on a lot lately. Don't want to get in with him. Long limbs, too. That's a whole nother mess.
Long limbs. He's got the long hair, like a sort of WWE wrestler from the 1980s. Greg the Hammer Valentine, Hulk Hogan. Any players, past or present, that you wouldn't want to get into it with?
Billy Whitehurst.
I was just going to say him.
Let me tell you, straight off the top of my head, I didn't need no thinking about whatsoever. I played against him loads of times, Big Billy, and he's a great
I don't know
fella.
Billy Whitehurst, so tell me about him.
Billy Whitehurst played for Hull, played for
Reading.
Newcastle. He went up to Newcastle.
I played with him at Reading.
I played against him at Newcastle, and we were running out of the box, gone up for a corner kick, and we were running back, and he's elbowed me in the face. So I did it the next time, elbowed me in the face. So the third time I thought, I'm having a bit of this. So I gave him my absolute best shot with my elbow and caught him plumb on the cheekbone, and he went, "You're dead" after the game. Consequently, I can't remember going in the players' lounge after the game. I'm sure I missed it.
Did you steer clear of him at the handshakes?
Oh, Big Billy was huge. He was a tough guy. Well, yeah.
I played with Billy at Reading, and then he came to Sheffield United as well. But when I played with him at Reading, got on absolutely great with him. Then he left. Then we played against him, and he absolutely smashed me in the first 10 minutes. And he's on that. So I mean, he was a physical character, but he's come over, picked me, and he apologised. He said, "But I do it to everybody." And I'm thinking, I thought you got on well with me, Mick.
Oh, he's not selective. He did do it to everybody.
Oh,
yeah.
It's just a weekly thing. You were lunch for him.
Yeah, but then you think, right, we're going in, so I'm either going to wake him up, like Mick said, I'm going to give him one, or you stay away from him. On that day, then you get him up to the halfway line, and then you drop off, and you don't get involved in the confrontation.
I learned the fact you don't want to fight for the ball, let him have it.
Yeah.
And you might nick it off him.
Yeah.
But if you want to fight him for it, no chance.
Well, I've got to say, the way that you looked at me when I said too rough, tough, and then I rode back and said, Keith looks fantastic, you gave me a dirty look. The last person I'd want to get into a fight with is Mick McCarthy. Right, it's time to take you to Molineux for the first time today. And Nat is there with one of our match commentators, Michael Brown. Take it away, guys.
Thank you so much there, gents. Yes, we are here at Molineux, and the rain has just stopped, which we're so thankful about. And I'm so happy to be here out of the studio. If you're wondering where FG is, he's in Abu Dhabi because he's no longer a hardcore fan. He can't claim to be hardcore anymore because he's off in Abu Dhabi. He's not here at Molineux today, but I'm so happy to be here and joined by Michael Brown. Michael, player that you wouldn't want to come up against?
Oh, there's so many. Looking in the studio, Keith Curle was a pussycat compared to McCarthy. He was all about pace, just sort of stayed in a little bit of a cultured way, Keith. So Keith wasn't too sort of fearful, I would say, but Mick McCarthy had a little bit. Some of the guys have mentioned Duncan Ferguson was of my era, Barry Horn, Vinnie Jones, as it started off for me. So Yeah, really interesting. Good. I enjoyed the battle. That's what I did in the middle of the pitch. It's fun, enjoyable. But just going to FG, he's took bigger and better things, hasn't he? It's away days. He's got to be here, but you get the opportunity to come out, don't you?
And it's lovely to be here with you as well. In terms of Manchester City players who you wouldn't want to come up against, I imagine pretty much whenever any Premier League team is looking at the Man City team sheet, they're thinking, I don't want to come up against them, don't want to come up against them, don't want to come up against them.
Do you know what? It's what we're thinking about. So are we thinking about talent as a player, or a Phil Foden with ability, or are we talking somebody who's got Edison worries me a little bit if we were talking about, if it's going to be a bit tougher. But some great team news. So, in terms of City's team today, there are 3 changes. We've got the change in the back with Akanji for Stones, but then up front, I think that's where the interesting changes are today. So you've got Foden and Grealish dropping to the bench with Savinho and Doku starting. First of all, let's talk about Savinho and Doku, because when they've started to get... I said their names and you started to smile, because when they've played this season, they have been so incredibly exciting. Do you know, we talk about who you wouldn't want to play against. If I was in a full-back area against these two, yes, I've not got much space, but which way are they going to go? Jeremy Doku sort of takes you down the line, then has this little stop, then he flicks it again. Now he's got that flick where he comes inside, getting better and better, more consistent, and it's nice to have a different blend, isn't it? Jack Grealish is one for certain that can do something different. Bernardo Silva can go out there, Phil Foden, but Savinho has been really good, hasn't he? That ball comes across, that great first touch, and he wants to make something happen. He's demanding to his players already in his new tenure for Manchester City, and he's a one to watch for the future, that's for certain. Jack's had a brilliant season so far, obviously for England as well. Great to see him back there over the international break. I think he's had a great start to the season, but in terms of the difference between him and playing Savinho and Doku, is that more of a representation of perhaps Wolves' defensive capabilities this season? I'm not so sure. I just think they look at certain areas of the pitch and say, maybe, for instance, what loading the players have had, what games are coming next, what system you're going to come up against, what particular fullback. So you sort of go, well, okay, on the left-hand side for Semedo, he's very good one-on-one situations. They've gone to a back 5. They might have expected that. So we think, well, okay, the wide ones can go right on. So it's different than Jack maybe coming inside the pitch, keeping the ball, then running, taking the next one. And we might look for that one-on-one sort of individual battles in the wider areas. I think that's what Doku and Savinho bring. So try and work Pep Guardiola out. We do try and look at it and say, but I think what's good is we have a different blend from different positions. We can probe, do things different. Midfield runners might be key, just inside of that back 3 as well. So the wider areas can stretch it. I think that's the point. In terms of that midfield, obviously Kovacic in the game against Fulham with those couple of goals was just so wonderful to see, and obviously Gundogan being back. With Gundogan, my only slight worry being this is he... I feel like he wasn't brought in expecting to play every single game. Come on. Is he up for playing every single game? You ask him. Let me tell you, he will be saying, yes, please, I'm ready, I want to play football. He's very intelligent. Do you know, he had a bad spell at Newcastle, and I'd not seen him do that before, and I was like, oh, well, he's not his best, but he'll just keep coming back. He understands it doesn't always go for him. His experience is key in certain games, so he'll want to play as much as he can, but he understands that he can't play every single game at the age. But Kovacic, it's great for the midfielders. You know, when you look, these forwards get all the accolades, and not necessarily the midfielders. I'm maybe biased, but Kovacic... Were you a midfielder by any chance, Michael Brown? I was, Kovacic keeps it simple, then he drives through the middle of the pitch, and it's great that he's getting goals, and he's got a little sort of spring in his step now. He knows he's got a lot of responsibility, no Rodri, and it must be difficult when everyone's saying, well, if City, we've drawn a couple of games, it's all because of Rodri. Well, got to look around, and there's De Bruyne missing as well. Yes, very true. But Nathan Ake on the bench today, which is wonderful to see. So you've got the City starting 11 for today. Let's have a look at our opponents now. This is the Wolves starting 11 for you. And there is 2 changes from their team that got beaten in that incredible game against Brentford. So the Wolves team for you, in net it is Jose Sarr, and then it's Bueno, Dawson, Totti Gomez, Nelson Semedo, João Gomez, Andre Lamina, Aït-Nouri, Mateus Cunha and Strand Larsen. That is the starting 11 for Wolves. And just one interesting note for you, on the bench is one Carlos Forbs, who City fans may remember as Carlos Borges, of course, one of our academy products that was unbelievable, scored so many goals when he was playing in the PL2 for City, went to Ajax last season and is now back on loan here at Wolves. So in terms of Wolves
Michael, it has been a difficult start to the season, is probably putting it lightly. 1 point from their first 7 games. At the minute, O'Neill seems to have the backing of the club. How long can they go with this run, though?
I covered a game yesterday where they were under pressure at Luton, and the manager was either the talk whether they're on a bad spell after really doing well for a considerable time, and you get a game like this and you're at home, you've got to produce, the pressure's starting to mount, you're right at the bottom of the league. Gary O'Neill understands his role now. He's got good support in Sean Derry, who I know really well. They'll be fighting, they'll be doing everything they possibly can. They did really well against City here last season.
They beat us, of course,
yeah, they did. And he done very well early in his tenure at Wolves. He was not expected really to do as well as he did. But he lost players yet again. So I'm going to give him a few excuses. You get a couple. And they didn't really recruit as well as you would have expected him to get a good start. But now he's got to find everything in his coaching to get results. He was tough on the pitch. You like to try and find ways of winning. This is going to be a big test for them. He's changed the shape. He's gone from that back 4 into a back 5. I think it's a sensible option. Dawson's going to be key in that battle with Haaland. They're going to go try and be tight. It's how whether they can be progressive. They score goals, we know that this season, but they've been hemorrhaging goals at the back.
I mean, attacking-wise, they're scoring goals. They look a threat in attack. I covered a game here earlier in the season when they played Chelsea, and even though they got battered, attacking-wise, they were still really good. Looking at that defence, 21 goals they've conceded this season, and you mentioned losing players. Obviously, they lost Max Kilman at the end of the transfer window. They didn't really have time to replace him. He was their club captain. They've lost their... I read this, and it's just astounding. They've lost their club captain in each of the last 3 transfer windows. Are they lacking leadership on the pitch?
You would think so. I think at the start of last season they lost players and it looked like they were definite for relegation sort of in that area, I would say, but they did so well. They got out of it, they got a way of playing. Juan as well has been missing. He's so important because for Gary O'Neill, he'd done so well for him. He said one of the players who sets examples all the time. So they've got a little bit of experience for certain, not enough when it's like this with the quality missing also. But Lamina in the middle of the pitch is going to be key. Matthias Cunha, who knows his way around. So sort of that spine right through the middle of Wolves is going to be so important. Jose Sarr coming back in. He's experienced at this level. So fullbacks for them, there was Semedo, Nouri, they want to get forward as much as they possibly can. And then you asked me before, didn't you, about Pep, why he puts them in. It just gives them something to think the other way. So, interesting game. It's a difficult place to come. We've found it tough over several seasons, but I do expect City to come out of the blocks, and the Premier League's back, Natalie.
The Premier League is back. Of course, City, the only team in the Premier League currently unbeaten still. We'd like to hold on to that today. Wolves' last game out, that 5-3 game that I mentioned before against Brentford, that was an insane game. They are scoring. They've scored in their last 8 games. Scoring for them is not the problem, but City will have to shut that down today.
They've got to. I think that's the remit for Pep. You understand what he's like. You've got to try not get counted. That's the key one for him, isn't it? But we finally get the team coming out for a little bit.
Goalkeepers coming out now, yes.
They're always out early, these keepers, see.
Yes, they're very enthusiastic. There is Edison. He'll be hoping that he can rack up a clean sheet today and stop Wolves from scoring. They've scored in their last 8 games. The goalkeepers coming out now here at Molineux, and it is staying dry. Brownie, fingers crossed it stays dry for the rest of the day, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Brownie is on co-coms later, of course, with the wonderful Alistair Mann. So let's go back to the studio now with Mick McCarthy. And, hey, Keith, I didn't say it, but he called you a pussycat.
My Princess Brownie.
Yeah, thank you, Brownie. He wasn't much of a pussycat in his day, Michael Brown, was he? Thank you, Nat. Thank you, Michael. Michael on commentary today. I want to pick up on one thing I saw in the VT when we saw the Wolves players arriving, Keith. Gary O'Neill had a big Cheshire Cat smile on his face, and it felt to me he knew the cameras were watching. Bottom of the league, conceding 3 goals a game, as Mick was saying. He's saying to the world, we're here, we're happy to be here, even against Manchester City.
Well, I'm not happy to be where they are. But again, you're the manager, you're the focal point, you're the leader. And sometimes the easiest thing to do is to smile. Because that rate, no matter what happens, you've got to exude confidence.
Yeah.
So they'd have been working.
How hard is that?
Well, no, that's why you spend your time on the training ground. All best laid plans against Man City can go wrong. Right? You accept that, and so they say, "Well, look, we're in nobody expects us to win today. This is going to be our game plan, and we will get 1 opportunity in the game, maybe 2 opportunities in the game. Got to take them, but." Fundamentally, we need to get our fundamentals in place as a team. We've got to stop them from playing. And sometimes you've got to do it the horrible way. You've got to get close to them. You've got to shake them up. You've got to rattle them. If you allow them to play the way, the tempo, how they play, they will destroy anybody. So then you've got to get close to people.
Yeah. Mick, what does it feel like? And this isn't a pointed question, but I know there's been times in your career where you've been in the sharp end of the Premier League.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, how is that in the game weeks before a game when you're working with your team, and then on the sidelines when sometimes the fans are getting on your back as well?
Well, let me tell you, going back to the question of him smiling, absolutely. If you get off the bus and you look worried and all the players are going to look worried, we play act at times. Come on, we do. Monday morning, you've been beaten on the Saturday. It was Taffy and Evans used to be with me. He said, right, first thing he said, silly hat, red nose, juggling routine this morning. Because the players come in Monday morning like that.
Expecting it.
You've got to get them back going. You've got to be enthusiastic. You've got to exude confidence. Even if down here you're thinking, I'm not so sure today, you don't let anybody know.
So you're hiding?
Yeah. Well, you're hiding your real feelings. You have to do. And you've got to exude that confidence. You come out of the pitch. Sometimes even as a player, you have to do that. You're turning up in an FA Cup tie that you're playing one of the top of the Premier League teams and you're the second division. If we all go out like this, oh dear, we can't do that. You have to believe that you can do it, and you've got to put it into the players that you can do it. My worry is the players coming off the bus with earphones on, the hoods up, and they look...
There was a flatness to some of them, wasn't
troubled.
there? Yeah.
I'd like to see some of the players come off like, come on, man, we're having it with you. Yeah. Get down in the tunnel and tell them they're having it with you. Yeah. If you get beat, you get beat, but at least go out and show like you fancy it. Whatever you do.
Is that the modern day footballer now?
I don't know. These, I know it's different. Maybe I'm an old curmudgeon. I'm 65. But I still believe, and you believe that you have to portray that confidence. And sometimes you might be dying in here. Yeah. But you don't let anybody else know that.
You're our favourite curmudgeon, Mick.
Good.
Good. Now, one thing that will help Gary O'Neill's team talk today is the fact that he can pin it on the board. The headlines from this time last year. You two know it well. You were in that chair. Yeah. Wolves got the win over Manchester City. This team has the ability to beat that team. And here's the goals from that day. Pedro Neto setting up an own goal off Ruben Dias. And then Hwang Hee-chan, who has a remarkable run against Manchester City. This is just a rerun of that first goal. Ake's doing all he can to close down Pedro Neto. Of course, is not at Wolves anymore. Made that summer transfer to Chelsea. This is the Hwang goal. Does well to pounce. Desperate effort on the line to keep it out. He likes scoring against Manchester City. So there's crumbs of comfort, crumbs of confidence that Wolves can take ahead of today, Keith.
I think it's one of those things. So we've all been, myself and Mick, we've been managers, and it's one of those sometimes when you're on a bad run, you fill the changing room with positivity. Whether that's you get video clips of players scoring goals, players winning tackles, winning headers, and all positives, and to create the mindset that we only need one opportunity. Yeah. And again, creating that mindset is massive. Because if you go out thinking we're beat, it's you're going to get beat. If you think you've got an opportunity and everybody's got to do their job, then probably the one thing I always said was so you give everybody roles and responsibilities. Don't be the one that doesn't do their job. And that echoes around the changing room. So then everybody does their job. Then you got a chance.
We lost at Wolves. When I was at Wolves, we lost at Bolton on the Tuesday night. We lost 1-0 in the 94th minute. One of our players ran and took a quick throw in. Yeah. With 0-0 at Bolton. Who have we got coming on the Saturday? Manchester United under Alex Ferguson. What did I do? I went in. I leathered him in the dressing room. I was throwing things around. I absolutely lost the plot, and it was almost fisticuffs in the dressing room. Back in the following day, right? We've got Man United. Do we sink? We beat them 2-1. Yeah. George Elokobi scored. He claims 2, but I'm sure. And we beat them. Yeah. And so it's not impossible. Yeah. And by the way, there was a gulf between Wolves at that time and Manchester United. You've got to get them back at it and believe they can do it. Because if you're coming on Wednesday morning, we've got Man United coming on, you have no chance. Yeah. No chance at all.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be a tough day for Wolves, but there are things that Gary O'Neill can do perhaps to help his team. Right, there were a couple of players on the team sheet that you might well have recognised. Michael touched on it, Carlos Forbs, Carlos Borges in his time at Manchester City with the EDS, and Tommy Doyle on the bench as well, who spent his formative years here at Manchester City. But let's focus on Carlos Forbs, and we'll take you back to last year when he caught up with Nedum to reflect on that ridiculous season he had with the EDS squad. He scored 21 in 24.
So, Carlos, you know how many goals you got?
Well, total in the league.
Listen, whatever you need to say. If you're struggling to remember, it means it's a lot.
Manchester City back in front. And it's the league top scorer, Carlos Borges.
In the league, I think it's 15 or 16.
Okay.
Altogether, probably like 20 something.
And that's playing which position?
Left wing.
How's that a thing? Like, how are you doing that?
It's down to my teammates, and I guess.
See, this is it. That's the right answer. It's a trick question.
Nah. It's down to the teammates.
No, that's good. Yeah. And how many years you say you've been at City now?
It's going to be 9.
9.
Yeah.
What made you come over? Especially for someone so young, and was it something you're looking forward to? Because I have a feeling that maybe it wasn't, especially at that sort of age.
Yeah, no, it wasn't my decision. My parents wanted to come here to find new jobs because I used to play for Sporting at the time.
Yeah.
And I just got into the academy at the time, and I was enjoying myself. I was winning trophies. I was settling in, and then I don't know where he had to come, so I didn't really have a choice.
You didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
So when would you say you started to sort of feel as if you had the potential to be in the position that you're at now?
To be honest, I never thought about it that way. I think, for me, I think about step by step.
Yeah.
And I just take it out how it goes, and for me to be in this position is a privilege, and I just have to keep working hard.
So you've trained with the first team quite a few times, played with the first team. How many times?
I only played once against Girona.
And how did that feel?
Nah, I was a top. I can't lie, I was a bit.
You're excited,
nervous.
yeah? Were you nervous?
Nervous,
okay.
When I came on, but then within 5-10 minutes I got into the game and nerves calmed down.
What were you nervous about?
I don't know, just first team with the players. It's just, I think it was that, but I think if it was to happen again, I think like it could be calmer.
You know, with City, they've obviously got some hugely experienced players, but they do have some youngsters making a huge impact as well. You know, they're not too much older than you. You're same age as Rico?
Yeah.
And, you know, people like Phil as well, Cole Palmer's and the like, they're not that much older than you.
Yeah.
Do you sort of look to them for advice, or is it more a case of you just look to anyone for advice?
I do a bit of both, because I think like you learn from both. Like, so when I go with the first team to train sometimes, I speak to, for example, Kyle Walker, Bernardo, and Rico. I speak to him almost every day, and he tells me how good is it, the feeling, the experience, and he's loving it at the moment. So yeah.
What was it first like when you went to train with the first team? Were you nervous then, or was it something which was exciting?
No, it was just exciting. I wasn't nervous at the time. Fernandinho was here.
Yeah,
so
the guy,
yeah, he gave me advice. He was a proper leader, true leader, and it helped because he obviously spoke Portuguese.
Did he give you advice in Portuguese or English?
Yeah, Portuguese.
There's one other thing that's left to do now, because I heard you are fantastic at table tennis. Like, fantastic is the word. Is that true?
No, I'll say decent. I'm decent.
I'm no good, so just know that if you lose a point against me, that's a win for me. Oh, no, it's happening.
Nah.
God damn it. Yes! Okay. Here's what it is, isn't it?
Potatoes, 1-1.
He's half my age, and he's getting run around like this from me. Wow. Thank you.
I think I'm going to win.
You've already let the side down, so you've given away a lot of points. It's a big moment for you. Just be calm, okay? Just be calm.
Yeah.
Oh, not like that. No.
Winner. Me. Doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish. But
it's a good motto for life, that, isn't it? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And he finished that game of table tennis really well, though. Nedum's got a good serve on him. He's obviously spending his retirement fairly well, Nedum Manur. Great package, that. We first aired that just over a year ago when Carlos was still on the books at Manchester City. He's left, he's gone to Ajax, now he's on loan at Wolves, and he is on the bench against City today at Molineux. Right, let's focus on City because they've been peerless. And actually, Arsenal's defeat yesterday to Bournemouth means that City are not only the only unbeaten team in the Premier League, the only unbeaten team in the top 4 divisions, City now, And a win today would lift them top of the table for a couple of hours at least, with Liverpool playing Chelsea later on. And there's a couple of players, they're all excellent, but a couple of players that have really risen up this season. We know what Erling Haaland can do with the record-breaking goals that he scored at the start of this season, the fastest to ever get to 10 goals and the numbers. But a couple of other players that you might not have expected, specifically Rico Lewis, the number of minutes he's getting, the number of assists he's getting, the number of chances created he's getting. Should we be at all surprised, Keith, that Rico Lewis has started the season so well?
I think it's something that Pep does, gives what you would have called last year's squad players more game time, especially after an international summer. Because you've got players returning that have been getting to the finals. They've played a lot of games, trained a lot of minutes, and being able to give younger fringe players, squad players, an opportunity. Say, well, now take your chance. And again, you've got to say Rico done it fantastically. And I think probably just going back then to with the academy players, the one thing that that I think is essential for all academies is the players' individual hunger for the game. If you've got that, then you've got a successful academy.
Yeah, Rico certainly has his hunger. Now, ostensibly, he's starting games as a fullback, either left or right. That's what we've seen mainly this season. But he is popping up everywhere, Mick. He played for England. He's in the middle. Here we go. We'll roll this VT. Have a look. That's Rico on the ball right now, playing fullback and playing like a quarterback, really. Just laying it on a plate for Erling to round the goalkeeper in the Champions League.
Inverted fullbacks. I can't remember me ever playing an inverted fullback.
Did you not invent the inverted fullback? You surprised me, Mick McCarthy.
They were there. That was it. They weren't moving.
He looks a fabulous player, and I love the fact that the academy does produce players of that ability. And he comes in and he looks very accomplished in every position he plays, which is lovely for him, because they talk about players playing so many games and they can't play them all. If he can play right back, left back, centre midfield, it's fabulous. But he looks a very accomplished young man, I have to be honest. Very calm and very skillful. And a full England international now as well. Yeah, so he's popping up on all the metrics. Interceptions, he's made 6 this season. The team high is Gvardiol with 12. Only Ruben Dias also has more than him. In chances created, 15. Only 4 of the squad have made more than him. This is a player who, again, is supposed to be a defender, but as we've seen, he's popping up everywhere. Assists, he's got the most, 4. He's not appeared on the goals yet, but minutes played, 846. Only Haaland and Gvardiol have played more than this kid that 2 years ago was in the academy.
He's gained game understanding now as well, hasn't he? And that positional understanding, like I say, that affords him that he can go and play anywhere on the pitch, which is excellent.
Well, they say about being a defender. The defenders for Manchester City are not defenders as we used to know. One of them, John Stones going and playing in midfield as he did last season. It was just amazing how they can handle the ball and handle being in that position. And that's how they're brought up, though. And he's took it like a duck to water.
Well, and the fact that they can play, many of them, Nathan Ake is a great example. He can play left back, he can play in the centre, he can drift into the midfield. Rico Lewis can do exactly that. And Josko Gvardiol has done that this season, and he's done it really, really well. And he's popping up on these metrics too. He's had the most interceptions. Gvardiol has had more minutes than everybody except Erling Haaland as well. And basically, even though Nathan Ake is such a skilled player, a senior player for this Manchester City team, it hasn't appeared like they've missed him in the 7 games he's been away.
No, which again is testament to the squad that's been built.
This is Gvardiol against Newcastle.
And again, but it's still they've still got their fundamentals in place, which is so he is a natural defender as well. But when the freedom allows, he knows that he can go and step into play and be a threat.
The lovely thing is for the defenders to be able to do it, and of course it's worked on. Yeah. They keep the ball, don't they? They're not going to lose the ball and allow that their left back is up the pitch and he's going to get caught out on the break. It doesn't happen. And so consequently, they get into positions that you're not even expecting them to get into as the opposition team. And then when they do, they can finish like that. It's fabulous. So we've named a couple there. Which other players have stood out for you, if you could just pick one, Keith, this season so far?
It's got to be Haaland. And not only because of his goal scoring exploit, his mentality, as in he'd be hearing all the noise that's going on around him, he'd be hearing the criticism, obviously he'd be hearing the accolades as well. But his focus on being what he is, a goal scoring centre forward, that is when he goes out, he's going to score goals. He wants to score goals. He needs to score goals.
In that goal as well, He's offside until he takes the little stutter step. Watch this one. There.
Yeah.
He takes a little stutter step to stay onside.
Yeah.
And then the finish is a finish you don't really see from any other striker. It's an ugly finish. It's a toe poke.
Yeah.
When I was at school, if you toe poked it, you get mocked. He's doing it because the keeper can't set himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, a toe bunga. I remember.
Toe bunga.
That's what we call it. It was, and I tell you, you'd be surprised. It was Tony Cascarino. We talked about that. That the keeper's not ready for it.
No.
The ball's running and you hit it as you're on the way. If you prepare yourself to hit it like that, or as a shot, they can get set. But if you hit it as you're running, that is brilliant.
Ronaldinho used to do it. I didn't know that Tony Cascarino invented it. Well done. Well done.
No, you probably saw Ronaldinho do it and talk to me about it. But he was the one that mentioned it to me, and I'd never given it any thought. Well, I don't, because I was more happy tackling him rather than scoring goals.
Yeah, stick it in Rose's head. Win the tackle, get rid. Right, now, Mick, you both spent 4 years at Wolves, at Molineux. Did you know that it's 125 years old? Opened in 1899. It's almost as old as me. It's been their home since that year. Earlier in the week, we sent our cameras to get a gauge on some of the other stadiums in the country and how they ranked those stadiums. Here we go.
Got the built-in water feature.
Terrible team. They're just tin pot.
What's good about Anfield? It's awful. I hate Anfield.
Do you know what? I actually quite like St Mary's, to be fair. It's, I'd say, I mean, no disrespect to Wolves. I like the team, but I do prefer the ground St Mary's, so.
Honestly, I think they're both bad stadiums, but St Mary's is just worse, to be honest. So, let's do it.
Molineux. Yeah. I don't know, it's bigger, innit? It's a bigger stadium.
I'd go Molineux. It looks nicer in my opinion. St Mary's just looks kind of like a rip-off version of Old Trafford.
And then you got Old Trafford, got the built-in water feature. Non-intentional at the time of the building, I'm sure.
Old Trafford, tin pot, falling down. Nah, not for me.
I absolutely hate Old Trafford to this day. Old Trafford is falling down.
I can't be like. They've got waterfalls coming out of it. You can't be going Old Trafford. Goodison. It's the last season, yeah. Been there as well, you've got to keep it.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I've got to go into the new ground. Might be the best new stadium in the Championship, the way to go. With a bit of an old ground in it, you know what I mean? The old-fashioned ground still got the wood stanchions in, aren't they? So it's, I don't mind it.
Tottenham Stadium. Yeah, that's like the best in the league, isn't it?
It's a great stadium, to be fair. It's, I can give them credit for that. It's got an empty trophies cabinet, but it's a good stadium.
Thanks, brand new, like only a few years old. Unbelievable state-of-the-art facilities, like.
I've been past it once or twice in Newcastle ground. It's quite an impressive stadium, to be honest.
The atmosphere there looks unreal.
I think like the away fans at St James's Park is too far away from the pitch. I don't like that.
Everybody who's been said it's horrendous to climb up there.
Emirates, the nearly there crew. It's a nice stadium. It is a nice stadium, to be fair.
Can I stand Arsenal? Like, terrible team. They're just tin pot.
Oh no. Anfield.
I don't like Liverpool. No.
What's good about Anfield? No, it's awful. I hate Anfield.
I'm going straight to the Etihad.
You know, I think the atmosphere is class, and like especially Champions League nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights. You know, I think it's just class. Stadium's bouncing, the light show, whatever, it's class. Like.
I've been onto the production team. I want to find that older guy and I want him in here on Matchday Live as our warm-up act. He was brilliant, just reeling off the one-liners, wasn't he? Arsenal, brilliant. Nearly there crew. Oh, one in the ribs for the Arsenal. Now, you gents, when you were here as Manchester City leaders, you played in a very different stadium, Main Road versus the Etihad. What was that like in comparison to feel, being in the stadium, playing on the pitch, do you think, to how the Etihad is now?
I've managed at the Etihad. Got slapped a couple of times at the Etihad. On Main Road, it's funny, if you were going to say which is my favourite stadium, I was going to say Main Road because
really?
I had a great time there at City. I loved it.
Kings of the Kippax.
Oh, it was just great. Not a great stadium when you look back at it, when you see the state-of-the-art stadiums now, but there were some really great stadiums that you played in that were, You know, West Ham's now is wide open. The old one was
right on top of the players, weren't you, in that stand?
So they've changed. They've changed for the better, of course, for the supporters to sit and enjoy it. But the smaller stadiums when they're on top of you. I was saying about Everton. I mean, Ipswich are now in there. Their stadiums are brilliant, great atmospheres you get out of them. No, I love my time at Main Road. That was fabulous.
Yeah, what was your favourite, Keith?
Anfield. Probably because I knew I was always going to be challenged. But when you go there, the atmosphere, you know, this is back in the era of Ian Rush. And you're thinking, like, you've got to be on your game all for 95 minutes because it was quality as a player. But then, it's probably because I felt challenged myself. I knew I had to perform on that day. So going there, the whole build-up. I was lucky enough, then I went back there as a manager with Carlisle. And what you were talking about earlier on about having a chance. You got to think, so Carlisle, I think we were 6th or 7th in League Two, and we were playing Liverpool in the Cup. And but the whole mindset was, I think we've got a chance. And then just spreading that amongst the players, amongst the staff, and everything. We went and we drew 1-1 after extra time, got beat on penalties. But so that was a fantastic day because the players bought into that belief. They knew they had to perform on the day they did.
Molyneux's, sorry.
Then I think we got beat 2-0 on the Saturday. But I think it might have been by Harrogate or something like that.
Yeah. Bad omen. Molyneux's a funny one because we've already said it's 125 years old, but it doesn't look like that. They've obviously done the renovations under Jack Hayward when he was the chairman there. What was that like to manage at that ground? Oh,
it's a fabulous ground. Fans are brilliant. But Steve Morgan came in as well and built the other stand that, as you're looking out, forgive me, can't tell you the name, but on the left-hand side, you might tell me. And they put a new stand up there and joined it all up.
Has Bully got a stand there?
I think he has. I think he's got pretty much everything there, Bully. Great stadium to play in and to manage in, yeah, it's fantastic. But that new stand has certainly helped at that side.
Fond memories of your time at Molyneux?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I inherited it in the just being relegated, and we had a season in the Championship and then got promoted and had 3 seasons, well, 2.5. they were in for 3 seasons. You know, getting promoted with any club, I think, from the Championship to the Premier League is fantastic. But it's then the next step, and if you haven't got the money or you haven't got the funds to keep... We stayed there for 2 seasons. The 3rd season, we were with 10 games left. We just dropped in the bottom 3, and very sadly, I got the bullet. But I've no problem with that because they expected more, and you know, I was expected to do more. Like Gary O'Neill's saying now, it's his responsibility. It was my responsibility. But I love the club, and I've still got a great relationship with all the fans up there. It's brilliant.
Yeah, harking back to, what were the years you were there, 06 to 20?
2006 to 12. Now
that falls into the Barclaysman era. Are you familiar with this trend that went viral last month?
No, but go on, let me have a look.
OK, right, here we go. So the Barclaysman was a trend that went viral last month. Basically, cult players from the era that you were managing at Wolves, 2001 to 2016, and you fell somewhere in the middle. And it's those cult players, so we're not talking Thierry Henry, we're not talking Alan Shearer. As you can see, our production team has had a little look, and these are what they think, Mick, are your Barclaysman 11. So if we talk you through it, Shay Given, an old favourite from here.
Magnificent goalkeeper, absolutely best keeper I've ever worked with, without a doubt.
Good character off the field as well,
Shay? Yeah, he's a fabulous guy.
Yeah, we're going to go have a look back at that again. We'll have a quick rattle through the back four. There's more City in the back four. We've got Richard Dunn, who spent many years here.
Kells was a great lad, Gary Kelly. Dunny, of course, fantastic.
Yep.
And he played for me with Ireland. George Elokobi is really a left back, but he's fabulous. Ian Hart, wonderful left foot. But you know about not great, but Damien Duff and Robbie Keane will get in anybody's team. They were just superb players. Matt Jarvis, great. Right, left winger, right-footed, and Julio Arca at Sunderland. Well, he was a magician.
Wizard.
He was brilliant. And of course, Carzo should have been the England manager, shouldn't he?
Do you think?
I was hoping to get it. Spain won the Euros with the guy who brought the 19s and 21s through. I just think it was weighted against him. The interviews they had with him, and sadly. And then, of course, big Quinny there. Well, we all know Quinny.
Yeah,
2 City players in there.
Yeah, 3 City players in that team line. Any that we've missed off? Can you think of any that you'd go, they'd stick in my cult team?
Thanks for that. If you'd asked me that before, I'd have known something to say.
We like to keep you on your toes.
Yeah. Kevin Doyle probably at City, at Wolves, because
Doyle
Doyle kept us up that year, I think. Stephen Fletcher, him and them two up front were different class, and really helped out. You know, Gary Breen was with me for years. He was with me with Sunderland, with Wolves, 2 promotions, and then he was with me in Ireland in the World Cup. So, yeah. Some players.
So some of those there, you were at the World Cup in 2002 in Japan. Any standout memories from those times for you with those lads?
Loads of standout memories 2002, even before the World Cup. Yeah, Robbie was, you know, the lads that were there were brilliant. We wouldn't have done what we've done without that team spirit that we had. It was just fantastic. But Big Quinny, Robbie Keane was just sensational, record scorer for Ireland, Damien Duff. Those two played up front. Now, we're on about fighting people. I'd have fought the both of them, but I didn't want to play against them because they were two fabulous footballers and they'd run in behind and terrific footballers.
They drive you mad, but you needed them on the match day, right?
Oh, they didn't drive me mad. They were really top players and you know, top characters in the team. Damien Duff and Robbie was sensational.
Robbie came through at Wolves when I was there, and you could tell he was the lad was going to be a talent. He had a freedom about how he played and how he saw the game. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and he's gone on and won the league in Israel as well with Tel Aviv. His first 12 months in the game. I mean, he's very talented lad.
Did you ever say to him, "Don't do that celebration, you might get injured"?
Not really. No, he was never going to stop anyway. So he's one of those things, you know, as a manager, you go and say to him, "Stop that." He'll think I'm a nutcase. Yeah. He's been doing it. That's his celebration.
So you're going to pick your battles. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you pick your battles. Yeah.
Right. I quite enjoyed that. Did you enjoy that little segment, the Barclaysman?
Yeah, it's nice to see the players that I've worked with and coached and been to a World Cup with a lot of them. It's fabulous, yeah.
Yeah, great memories. We'll see if we can get a print out of your Barclaysman 11.
Please do.
We'll send it over to you. There's your prize for the day. OK, now, what do you get if you compare a couple of legendary City centre-backs? You get the MatchDay Live team. What else do you get if you combine 2 other ones? Well, you get Andy Morrison combining with Ruben Dias. We got them together for a bit of a chinwag. Here it is.
What's the strangest red card you've received? Okay, I heard a good story about you, so go ahead.
Yeah, quite. Yeah, infamous. Well, I actually got sent off, and it was for apparently sticking my tongue into another place. What happened was I'd been yellow carded in the first half, just a standard challenge or whatever, and in the second half I got into a bit of a dispute with I think it was Stan Collymore. We were playing Fulham away. And my gesture basically was, "I've got you licked." I said, "You know, you've not had a kick all afternoon, like, so quieten down." And he said, "You what?" Like, and I said, "I've got you licked." So I made a licking gesture, which it's as outrageous as it sounds. And the referee came across and pulled out a yellow card. But I think when he pulled the yellow card out, he realised that my name's on it and he's going to have to red card me. So it went down as sticking my tongue down in another place. But it was never like that. And
so a bit of fake rumours.
100%, you know, and I've had to live with that for a long time. But it certainly wasn't. There was no contact. It was a gesture. When is it enough? When do you think you feel satisfied enough to retire? Quite a deep question.
Yeah, very deep one. I've thought about it.
Is it physical, or is it achievement wise? Have you set yourself caps? Have you set yourself records, appearances?
I've thought a lot about it. And at the end of the day, I think it's an answer that you will only know when the time comes. But still, it really goes in between, can't I do it anymore?
Yeah.
Or I want to stop while I'm top.
Yeah.
I would say I would love to finish on top.
Brilliant. Oh, I can answer this one for you. It says, do you think you could have played in the 99 City team? And let me tell you straight away, you ain't moving Gerard Weekends out alongside me, and you're not moving me out of the team. So unless
maybe 3? We go 5, back line of 5?
3. I'll fit you on the right side of me, and I'll sit in the middle, and Gerard on the left.
Okay. I'm happy with that.
The football's moved on a lot since then.
Do you think you could play in the Modern City team?
Oh, do you know what? I thought every time I watch City and I'm thinking, just the way it's ingrained from such a young age, and you can almost seamlessly come into that team and know how they're going to play, know what the patterns are. You know, you're going to occasionally get yourself exposed, you know, but not as often as, you know, as what we would back in my day, because I think the units move so quick now. Oh, I'm going to have to be honest and say no. You know, but I make the squad.
Andy can be the first substitute. He's very honest. I'm not good enough to get in the starting team now for the team that won the treble a couple of seasons ago. Very quickly, we get on to Ruben Dias. Andy was sent off for licking Stan Collimore's face, snogging him, basically. 9 red cards in your career, Mick. What was the daftest?
Oh... they're all daft, aren't they, to be quite honest? But I think the daftest was when I went to play in Lyon in France, and I'd already been booked for kicking Eric Cantona in the chest. He was playing for Montpellier at the time. And then the centre forward was coming down, and I thought I could get there. And I couldn't get there. And I went in, slid in, the centre forward, the midfield player flying over the top. And I thought, well, that's me off. So I got up and I started to walk off. And I was just going off the pitch, and the referee called me back, French referee. I thought, surely he's not just going to give me a warning. He wanted to give me the red card, didn't he? So he gave me the red card. And the strangest thing about it is, because I accepted it so gracefully, the chairman went and spoke to the referee, and instead of getting 3 games, I got 1 game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I didn't accept red cards gracefully. I knew I was going. So that was the strangest of all. You know?
I like the Eric Cantona name drop. That's good. Keith, can you think of any daft ones?
Well, I think I've only been sent off 3 times.
Only?
I think. There's a few games played there. Wigan away when I was younger, and I headbutted somebody.
That's quite daft.
Yes, well, because I thought about it and said...
We were calling you a pussycat earlier.
I was thinking, like, don't react. Have a few skirmishes like that, and then he's got close like that. Even then I'm thinking, like, don't react, because I'm thinking I've got him riled, and I've got him in my face, and then I've just gone like that, don't do it, oh, whack, it's gone. And it's one of those, just started walking straight away, and I'm thinking, like, why did I do that? Because in my head, I'm thinking, like, I've won the battle because I've got a reaction out of him. He's up and he's in my face, and I'm thinking, like, I've got him.
It is a temptation when they put the face in
front
of
his
eyes.
Yeah.
It is.
Right, I'm going to have to step in like a referee to keep this clear. I didn't expect that on my bingo card. Keith Curle dropping the nut on an opponent. Right, we are going to focus on Ruben Dias, which was the point of that, but we got sidetracked with Eric Cantona fouls and headbutts from Keith Curle.
A good centre-back.
Ruben Dias has been absolutely incredible since he's joined. Manchester City have won the league in every year that he's been. How much better can he get? Is it possible for him to keep adding to his game, Keith?
Again, I think I touched on it earlier on. Reliable, consistent, dependable. All of those things, you put those under Ruben's name. He's in the right place at the right time, makes the right decisions. Exactly what you need.
And great leader as well, Mick. We were talking about leadership earlier.
Yeah, just have him there though with Andy, relaxed and confident and talking about him. You know, he seems like a good guy.
Yeah.
I've seen him, so which I think is as well is part of it, being that leader where everybody can just relate to you and chat to you. And just seeing him there, how relaxed he was great. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Fabulous player, fabulous talent.
Yeah, certainly is, and he's in the starting team today. Right, let's take you back to Molineux. There were more buttons on show the last time we were at Molineux than a Christmas production in the pantomime. We're going to go back to Nat and Michael and have a look at their jackets. You'll see what I mean. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, gents. We're still here at Molineux. The rain is holding off. And you can see the players are right behind us doing their warm-up. They're currently doing some shooting practice. Anybody standing out for you at the minute?
There's always a few, isn't there? How do you take it? I mean, just putting them in now, right in the corners, getting a little bit of a feel for the ball, just that last little drill, and then they do a little bit of a sprint practice, and then they're in, ready to go.
I love this pink training kit as well. I'm having that.
Are you after another one?
I'd love that one of those,
He tries to compliment on any of the kit, any of the tops to try and get them. But no, these are these last little bits of moments now that you can just get your eye in on goal. And last few of the guys, a little bit of defending. We see Ruben Dias just spraying a few balls in case that diagonal pass has to come, just getting his bearings. So it's an important part now. Wolves side as well, also just finishing off. So I think it's going to be a really interesting game. City have got to start strong in this game. Wolves under pressure, Natalie, so it's all about the start for me.
Yeah, in terms of the headlines for the game, you've obviously got City sitting in second, can go top at least temporarily. Only team in the league that have not lost a game yet. You've got Wolves second bottom, have not won a game yet. I mean, they're the kind of key talking points, but is it going to be as simple as that today, Brownie?
No, it's not. This is a team now fighting for their lives, a manager, a staff. They've got to try and get everything out of this side. They need to get something from the game, or at least show a performance, something to build on. You can't always get something against Manchester City. But yeah, good news yesterday, wasn't it, when we were watching Arsenal, they not picking up results, Liverpool, Chelsea, so lots of big games, so really important, coming back from that international break, lots of games coming, and I feel there's some good games for Manchester City to get some points, and it starts early in the game. The two wide players you mentioned really get one-on-ones, try and score early and then control the whole game.
It does feel like, I don't want to talk about Arsenal too much, but it does feel like on a weekend when Arsenal, I mean, or that could be Liverpool, whoever is challenging at the time, drop points. It does feel like then that is an opportunity where we must win, we must take advantage of them dropping points.
You would say so, but this is the Premier League. You know, wherever somebody drops points, it's a plus. Whenever you're at the top, if City don't win every single game, you're looking and say, oh, it's been a draw. We've seen recently, haven't we, all the pundits, the media, people talking about City, a couple of draws. I mean, come on. It is the Premier League. It is tough, and it's, I'm looking forward to the players getting in the stride. More minutes now for John Stones. Phil Foden will be getting more as well, as you mentioned. So I think the squad are starting to get back together. De Bruyne is the one. Nice to see Nathan Ake back on the bench.
He's just right behind us there.
So, big games. I think you've got to really be right at it all the time. I think we just had Pep Guardiola to our left-hand side, just monitoring the warm-ups, making sure everything's all right. He's always watching, Natalie. That's
I like to watch him watching as well, which sounds very creepy. Yeah. But to see what he's doing.
I noticed that. You were just looking at him. He was just there to our left, and
he's fascinating, isn't he? Always.
I think what he is, it's the level of detail. So he's always thinking, is everyone at it? Is there anything I can see? Just having a look, both sides and his team, getting a feel for the game. And all of a sudden, you've got the analysts up at the top as well. I think they're so important. The rest of the staff. And just on it, make sure everyone's at that little 1% extra could be the difference in winning the game.
Just out the corner of my eye where you were talking there, I saw Tommy Doyle was embracing some of the backroom staff.
Yeah.
Because, of course, Tommy Doyle, another academy product of ours. I mean, Manchester City pedigree
They're
through
everywhere.
and through. They're everywhere. Well, there's two of them on the bench today. Should they get the opportunity? It always feels like, you maybe give that extra little percent when they're playing against a club that sold them, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. Whenever you play against your former team, you want to try and do as well as you can. And it's not necessarily to really do anything of badness. It's just a case of that you want to do well. And these are the last movements now. So great shot, Bernardo. We almost got a smile there, didn't we? So
we
did. He might smile
did.
afterwards. But it's ready. There you go. So, really looking forward to this one. It's a great place to play football. Wonderful stadium now here at Molineux. And I expect a City win.
And we got a little wave off Jeremy Doku. How exciting. So the players are coming off now. We're going to go and get our positions in the stand. Brownie is on co-commentary today with the wonderful Alistair Mann as well. And we will be back here with you at full time, where hopefully we are celebrating Manchester City remaining unbeaten. Right, we'll go back to the studio, gents.
Thank you, Nat. Thank you, Brownie, who's heading up to the stands to do his commentary duties. I tell you what, that wolf is pretty menacing that they just zoomed in on with the camera there. I also love the fact that Nat started that piece saying, I'm really hopeful to get one of those pink tracksuits. And then the last thing she did, little wave to Jeremy Doku. You know what she's thinking, don't you? You know what she's thinking. Oh, Jeremy, do you need that? Got any spares? Right then, so the team is still on the screen. Let's have a quick run through it. Edison will go in goal. The defence will be Rico Lewis and Gvardiol in the full-back positions. John Stones, Ruben Dias. The midfield holding two will be Kovacic alternating with Ilkay Gundogan, and then further forward, Bernardo Silva, Savinho, Jeremy Doku, and up front, Erling Haaland with his 10 Premier League goals so far this season. It's a mean-looking team against, we've used the word pussycat to describe you. We're not going to do that ever again after your stories of headbutts, but the pussycats of the division in Wolves.
Yeah, it's going to be potentially going to be a long afternoon for Wolves.
Yeah.
If you have a look, the threats that City have got, they're going to dominate possession, and they're going to pull Wolves apart. And it's one of those. Now it's about the team structure and their discipline for 95, 96, 97 minutes. Are they prepared to do their jobs individually and collectively? That's what the manager will be hoping for.
Yeah, they certainly will be expecting a reaction from Wolves.
Of course. I said, we talked about Gary O'Neill coming in with a smile. He'll have had them all, well, since they've come back from international duty. So as long as he's had them, he'll be drumming it into them. They need to start and get something from it. Does anybody think that Wolves are going to get something from it? I don't. And I don't think anybody else is in there. Probably anybody else who's watching around the world, because of the two positions that they're in. There's always a chance, though.
That's football. There's always a chance. I don't like to tempt fate when I'm sitting in this seat.
That is what you have to believe when you're the manager and the players. There's always a chance.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that Manchester City will be well aware of. Victory today sends them top of the league. For how long, we don't know. Liverpool play later today. But also, 30 unbeaten in the Premier League. That is an equal Manchester City record in top division, not just Premier League era. So if they avoid defeat today, which we think they probably will, if they get the win, that is a new club record. It's history.
Yeah, it's history. But personally, I think that Pep will just be treating that as noise. He wants to win every game. And he wants to win the next game. But he knows there's going to be associated noise that's going to go on every game they play. You know, they play big games.
I guarantee, had it not been brought up by some journalist or some statistician, Pep wouldn't know that it was 30.
No, he gets asked every week.
And he wouldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
He just wants to win. Yeah. You win that game and then you carry on.
Yeah.
It's true. Now, we started the show reminding everybody that the reason you two have been brought back was because this time last year you were the bad pennies, the bad luck charms in a Wolves victory over Manchester City in this very fixture. What's your score prediction for this one, Mick?
Manchester City to win, whatever it might be. 3-0. They've conceded 3 goals every time, Wolves. I feel for them because I've been there, but I think Manchester City will win comfortably.
Going 3-0, Keith?
Can I make it slightly different? If Man City score in the first 15 minutes, 5-0.
5-0?
If they score in the first 15 minutes.
I get that.
A little clause attached. OK, right, we're going big and we're going to Molineux. Right now, Keith and Mick will be with us at half-time for our half-time show. You can see the fans in the stands, Manchester City fans that have made the journey down the M6. Love it when I see those old yellow shirts, shades of 99. The teams are in the tunnel, so I think it's time we throw to our commentary team. Michael Brown, we've already seen, and Alistair Mann. Alistair, take it away.
Thank you, Chris. 2 teams inside the tunnel, waiting the signal to come out to a sellout crowd at Molineux. Morning rain has given way to lighter conditions. There's even a hint of sunshine knocking around. The pitch is damp but slick, which should suit Manchester City's pass and move. Wolves, as we're going to come on to in a few moments' time, appear to have made a formation change in a bid to halt a rather depressing run of results that have